Okay, wonderful. So I'm Rebecca, and I'm going to go first with my presentation. So let me share my screen. There we go. All right, so here is my peer coaching presentation. Let's see if I can get this right. No, I'll just go through it. Okay. So like I said, my name is Rebecca, and here is my peer coaching presentation. These are the contents of my presentation. I'm going to go over the health crisis, the background, the at-risk populations, the solutions, and finally the conclusion. So the health crisis that I chose was a scenario where there's been an outbreak of norovirus at North Brunswick High School in their hurricane disaster shelter. Currently, there are 20 confirmed cases of norovirus, 5 of whom are children under the age of 10, and we need your help to treat those diagnosed and prevent the spread of infection. A little bit of background, these are the statistics for North Brunswick High School shelter, and these are also the facts about norovirus. Norovirus is extremely contagious, and it can cause vomiting and diarrhea. At-risk populations within the shelter are, of course, the children and the elderly. Both have immunocompromised immune systems, and they need to be under special consideration whenever they get sick. So we came up with a number of solutions, and I have them listed here. Ultimately, we decided that it would be best for the people of North Brunswick High School shelter to go on and isolate those that are sick into another classroom or into another part of the school, and get local health officials to come in and assist with cleaning and managing all of the symptoms.
All right, my name is Sarah, and from our peer coaching calls, we were looking at Brunswick County schools in Southeastern North Carolina. The problem that is happening is that they're seeing a decrease in student activity within sports, whether it's mainly within schools. And then for the participants who do participate in the sports, roughly 37% of them are experiencing preventable injuries during their sports. The problem is that some current reasons that there's decreased involvement is with the COVID-19 pandemic, lack of transportation, students are feeling unmotivated or discouraged to participate. They fear just like coaching staff, and then it comes down to ineligibility to participate. Some of the questions that we have been asked so far is what efforts have been made to reach students in order to get them to participate, common injuries being seen within these sports, if there's any current problems that the schools or administration know about between the sports and the coaches, and then are students involved in sports outside of school, as well as students do they have easy access to a trainer to be able to express their concerns and receive treatment. Some of the current efforts was that they are offering workouts prior to season, so that way students can interact and meet with the players and other coaches. Some of the sports are visiting some of the middle schools, so that way they are able to outreach with them and like introduce themselves, introduce the program to hopefully get them to participate when they come in as freshmen. Sometimes they have different activities offered throughout the year. So they have one powder puff game. So that's kind of anybody who wants to participate can participate. And then they do have athletic trainers available for students to use. But one of the downfalls where they're seeing is that they don't have enough time to go see them because they're not coming on campus until it's time to get out. Some of the solutions that we thought of was that maybe using the buses for students who do not have a way to go back and forth between sports and home. And then going through and offering like small sessions where that way students can exercise and stretch before games or before practice, and as well as kind of doing more outreach within the community or within the schools to get people active.
Hi, I'm Meg, and for my peer coaching call, we did a food poisoning outbreak at a convention center. 30 members of an event team at the convention center ended up sick after a dinner for 3,000 attendees. They were accusing the convention center of bad food. The symptoms were cramping, vomiting, diarrhea. The chef was adamant that symptoms from E. coli don't show up until days later. But we think that they were probably trying to get out of paying for the convention food and the dinner for 3,000 people. There were no, as far as the background, there's no convention attendees that ever reported feeling ill other than a normal percentage when you have a large group that size. We started asking questions about the team's whereabouts and what they had been doing. And it turned out that they had had a team event offsite several days prior. The food safety board came in and they questioned the chef about the food, and they were actually able to test the food because in a large facility like that, chefs actually save some just in case something like this should happen. They did test the food and they found that there was no bacteria that would cause E. coli. And they switched their attention to a restaurant that was local and found that the restaurant did not save samples of their food for testing, but the timing was accurate for E. coli. They were able to find out that the restaurant had several kitchen staff that were out and that had the same symptoms as the event team. The population at risk for this, of course, is the convention attendees, the staff, the convention center staff, and the restaurant staff. The solutions we came up with were reiterating the hand washing protocols, making sure the management had proper training, proper food handling and temperatures, taking the temperature of staff when they come in, and encouraging the employees to stay home when they're sick. And of course, masks and gloves for food prep. The conclusion is just acknowledging that these kind of things can happen, but they can be avoided. They need to limit the time outside from staff members so that they don't spend a lot of time in places where they're unaware of where they could be getting any type of food poisoning or that type of thing. Restricting foods from being brought in, retraining the kitchen staff in both the restaurant and the convention center, and basic hand washing and food preparation in all of the kitchens, the restaurant and the convention center. And that's the end.
Okay, so the benefits for peer coaching for me is that I got to bounce off my ideas with both Sarah and Meg. I came up with some solutions for my health crisis on my own, and we were able to discuss those options and choose what would be the best for everyone involved.
Right. Yeah. So kind of like Rebecca was saying, peer coaching calls are good. That way, not only are you getting your own ideas out there, but you're able to see what kind of everyone else has. And this kind of allowed for me to be able to think of different ways on how we could handle some of the situations. So like they said, using the buses for school, because by the time that they're out, school bus is already back. So that way that's not like an extra bus that they need to find. They're able to use the resources that they have.
I really enjoyed this because actually from both sides, I liked that I was able to get questions from both Rebecca and Sarah about how to make my presentation better and get their perspective. And then from the other side, I really enjoyed being able to contribute to their projects as well and ask questions and work together on this. So it's a great activity.